Hello and welcome to the New Indian Express Online. I'm Bansi Kadapa. With me is Mr. Jasmine Shah, who's essentially an engineer, someone who served as Vice Chairman of the Delhi Dialogue Commission, which is their policy think tank body. Well, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Bansi. My
Yeah.
pleasure.
So first of all, you have written this book just when Delhi is headed to the polls.
Yeah.
We have the polls in a few weeks from now. So how important is it for the Delhi voter to know what the Delhi government has really done? Because on paper, we've seen Aam Aadmi Party is trying to do so much, especially on the educational health front, and there is so much specially that needs to be done also. But how much of it have you been able to tell the voter that these are the deliverables and we have delivered on these fronts?
So, the elections are always a time for accountability. I believe more and more if elections are fought on the actual track record of what the governments have delivered, what promises did they make, how much have they delivered, and if you've not been able to deliver some, what are the reasons, and therefore how will you amend it? Now with Aam Aadmi Party being a national party, and I think the experiment of Aam Aadmi Party when it came to power for the first time with a huge mandate of 67 out of 70 seats in 2015, I remember that was a national story. It was not just that the people of Delhi were excited. People across the country, even in Bangalore where we are having this conversation, where the ISC movement was very active, in Bombay, in many parts of southern India, people were looking up to AAP as a hope, as there's something new that is going to happen in Indian politics and Indian governance. And therefore I feel this book was written from the point of view of putting together a factual account of what transpired inside the Delhi government in the last 10 years.
Okay.
While the politics of AAP is discussed endlessly in national media, all the cases that have been put against AAP leaders or political campaigns of AAP, be it our victory in Punjab, in Gujarat, we have 5 MLAs. I believe the governance track record of AAP hasn't gotten that kind of scrutiny or attention. And it is my attempt to, in a sense, have a more informed discussion about the governance track record of AAP, which I believe is not just of value to the Delhi voter, but also to all those nationally who were invested emotionally in the idea of AAP. And I believe elections are the perfect period where people will be interested to know as to what has really happened in Delhi in the last 10 years.
Also, since we are in Karnataka, about 2,500 kilometers away from Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party is existent here. There is also an effort to win elections, but so far they've not really been able to make a dent.
Yes.
Where do you think, what is the disconnect? Why is the voter here not really been able to understand what AAP stands for or how they'll make a difference?
I think, one of the unfortunate...
I ask you this question especially since you have been in Bangalore before.
Yes.
So you understand Karnataka and Bengaluru better than...
I began my journey in public service. In fact, in Bengaluru, I was working in the corporate job. And in fact, I write about it in my book that one of the catalysts in me of giving up my corporate job and joining, the development sector, non-profit sector, was the endless traffic jams that I saw in South Bangalore on the way to Electronic City.
Absolutely.
I was living in Coxtown and I was traveling to Hosur for close to a year, and I used to experience 3 to 4 hours of jams every day. And I was like, there is something fundamentally wrong about our governments not being able to fix issues like this. So it started out with there, and coming back to your question, the reason, one of the important reasons why AAP has not been able to make inroads in Karnataka is also that Karnataka is a very vast state. We are a party of meager resources. Typically, we would like in large states to fight in big municipal corporations, make our entry, make our debut there. Unfortunately, and I think it is a joke on local governance, that we've not had elections in BBMP for all these years. One tier of governance completely dismantled.
Absolutely.
And think about it,
And either side, neither the BJP nor the Congress, because BJP also delayed the elections for the longest of time. Congress, they've been in
No,
power
I mean,
for a year and a
if
half.
if you leave it to the politicians, they would not want any elections.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
the MLAs are all happy that they don't have councillors to deal with. The state government is happy they have all the powers.
Absolutely.
So, but it is the constitution that guaranteed local government, the corporations, and somewhere if the courts are not allowing or not forcing that to happen, then that's a problem, and it's a problem for small parties. And see, as AAP, even though we've been in power in Delhi, we are a party with very meager resources. We cannot, Karnataka elections are very expensive. It takes a lot of time, effort to fight. I'll give a parallel in Gujarat. In Gujarat, we first made inroads into the Surat municipal corporations. We dislodged Congress. We came up, we had got 25 councillors in the first corporation election we fought out of some 100 seats. So it was in Assam. We have one seat in Guwahati Municipal Corporation, we have one seat in Tinsukia Municipal Corporation. So, local level is where typically small parties should start. And once people get a flavor of the fact that here's a clean administration, educated people coming into politics, they will give us more power. I believe that has a big role to play. And second, I feel somewhere it is also up to the voters eventually to decide. See, Aam Aadmi Party is an idea. We are an idea of a completely different kind of governance. We'll talk about the Delhi model and what differentiates it from others. And thoroughly honest, well-educated people in politics. And it is only when the people of that state desire AAP to be an alternative can AAP come up. So I am very sure that sooner or later the demand for AAP, and it's not that we have not had a good run nationally, in fact, right? We are the youngest national party in the history of India. No political party within 10 years has managed to form a government in 2 states, has MLAs in 3 other states. Today we have MLAs in Gujarat, in Goa, and now even in Jammu and Kashmir. So we have a lot to be thankful about as Aam Aadmi Party, but I do believe sooner or later even Karnataka will see the dawn of AAP.
Also, when you look at the model that you've spoken of in Delhi, education, Karnataka has such a huge number of government schools. Some of them have very small, attendance.
Yeah.
Number 2, the problem is in Delhi you have had students from the government schools who go into IITs, like you yourself were in IIT. But here, very seldom do we see someone from the government schools going into IITs or IIMs or some of these, important institutions. So where is the problem, and why is it that it's not happening here while it happens in Delhi?
See, it all boils down to political will. Back in 2015, when AAP first came to power, nobody in Delhi believed that government schools can outperform private schools. Nobody would believe that lakhs of students from private schools and even expensive private schools will give up from private schools and actually join government schools. We have shown that in Delhi, that government schools with constant, we invest 25% of our budget in education. We are the only state that has consistently, and this is in the history of India, no other state government has invested consistently 25% of its budget in education. If you look at Karnataka or most Indian states, it averages 12 to 15%. So we invest close to double of it. The amount of reforms that we brought about, and that comes from an intrinsic belief. AAP's and that brings us to the heart of the Delhi model of governance. We have a belief that the only thing that can take India forward towards the path of becoming a developed nation that all of us want to see India become is by our governments investing in health and education. And I say investing, not spending, because that is what will take the country forward. Unfortunately, even after 7 decades of independence, all the traditional political parties do not place that much of importance in health. And I'm not talking about BJP and Congress, even all the regional parties.
All of them, yes.
And that's the unfortunate reality. So the moment it is, if the governments are serious, if the governments are forced, and I think the voters also need to exert pressure, that do something about our government.
What does the voter do? What does the voter do? In Karnataka or in any of the Indian state, the voter receives his warmest namastes from the leader just before elections.
Agreed.
And the leader disappears for the next 5 years. So what can the voter do? So, in the next election, he sees the leader. Perhaps he's forgotten all that the leader has promised in the previous election. So the voter really is perhaps the most disenchanted all across.
I understand, and I think that is where the appeal for Aam Aadmi Party comes from. Today, not just Delhi, we have swept the Punjab Assembly elections with a record mandate. We got 92 out of 117 seats in Punjab. Why? Because the voters had become disenchanted with traditional parties, you know. And in fact, let's not forget, in Delhi, the kind of miracle that we saw, the mandate that we got in 2015 and 2020, is because the voter had become disenchanted with the fact that, you know, traditional political parties don't seem to bother about issues that affect the day-to-day quality of life of an ordinary person, an Aam Aadmi as we call. They don't talk about schools. They don't call about healthcare. Healthcare is very expensive even for the middle classes.
Absolutely.
Rising electricity bills, water bills, 24/7 electricity, public transport. These are the things that affect the lives. Aam Aadmi Party has made its entire orientation in governance as placing these at the center of it, cutting down corruption, creating space to invest in these things. So I would say not enough voters are angry enough if a party like AAP is not seeing the kind of success in Karnataka. I also believe that it's a question of resources, and we will start small in every state. But wherever AAP, if let's say in the next municipal elections, if AAP is standing, I appeal to the voters that if you're genuinely tired, if you're genuinely disenchanted with parties, then give a new kind of politics an option. That's how Delhi and Punjab today are seeing something which they've never seen before.
Also, if you look at Aam Aadmi Party, if you look at municipal corporations across Karnataka, there are so many.
Yeah.
Aam Aadmi Party has not really been able to make a major dent in many areas.
Yeah.
Because agreed, in some areas they have, made a difference. But if you look at the entire geography of Karnataka, they could have done so much better in 10 years.
No, so I would say, let me just say that the appeal of AAP has increased as our work in Delhi has shown results. See, AAP was always an idea of, good, honest people in
You
politics.
started with India Against Corruption.
India Against Corruption, no, but I'm saying in 2015 when we came to power, everybody was looking forward to what would they do you need nothing succeeds like success, as they say.
Absolutely.
Today, when we go outside, and that has happened after the first 5-7 years of being in power in Delhi, we are able to tell people convincingly that, look, vote for us because we can transform government schools. Only we can. Vote for us because we will build world-class mohalla clinics, government hospitals. We will provide free electricity, free water. We will transform public transport infrastructure. All this work today is there as a reality in Delhi. So I believe the appeal of AAP has grown only over the years. And I can only say that probably we also need to put in more effort. I mean, Karnataka is a large state, and if not Bengaluru, then maybe other municipal corporations. So, but I also believe that the appeal of AAP is increasing over the years. The other bit which I will not, I will mention is that there's also massive disinformation machinery that plays up,
Absolutely.
right?
It's almost there to slander AAP.
Yeah, there's a slander machine that goes on, which says that, oh, AAP has done nothing good. I mean, at a level, it is comical because if AAP is coming with such resounding mandates in Delhi and winning in Punjab and others, then for sure we would be doing some good. But because, how the way mass media operates today and the traditional parties have a lot of control over mass media, the truth never reaches even like in the far corners of Karnataka. What has actually, and I'll give you an example, when I travel somewhere and I ask people, do you know you can get free electricity also if your governments really want? He said, oh, nahi, you're joking. This can never happen. And I said, no, we give it in Punjab, we give it in Delhi. He said, no, but they say that it's all lies. People have to pay very high bills. For 10 years, we've been giving free electricity. Sorry, 5 years. In 2019, we introduced it. But this is the kind of a disinformation machinery. People have been made to believe that your life is hell and no party can change it. So give up hope. Rather than political parties competing on saying that, okay, I will also do something good, and therefore let the effort goes on in convincing the voter that no, that nothing really is happening, that they're as bad as us. So the voter is confused.
The voter is confused. All right, now you have served as Vice Chairman of the Delhi Dialogue Commission. Now this is nothing but a policy making body. Now let's look at this hypothetically. Assume that you were made head of the Karnataka Dialogue Commission, a similar planning commission in Karnataka.
Yeah.
And since you've been in Karnataka for a good 3 years,
Yeah.
you have actually driven on the roads of Bengaluru. You have suffered the power shutdowns in Bengaluru.
Yeah.
You've gone to the markets and you know the problem of the markets.
Yeah.
So if you were to make a difference in Karnataka, I'm only talking as a person.
Okay.
Where would you start? What would you do in Karnataka?
So you're asking me on the spot diagnosis
On
and
the spot.
solution.
I ask you this question knowing fully well that someone in governance will see this
Yeah.
and take a cue from it.
No, my recipe at a larger level for Karnataka or
For Bengaluru.
For Bengaluru, I would say for any large city or state also is not very different, you know. And I think we need to step back as to what is it that we are trying to work towards, and this idea that everybody wants to see India as a developed nation, which means you need to have a developed city and a developed
Correct. But
state
in
first.
Bengaluru, where will you start? Will you start with roads?
No,
Will you start with power?
I feel
Will you start with the schools?
no. So my starting point for any city or state will be to focus a lot of its resources in education and health.
Okay.
You know, you can keep talking about potholes for eternity.
So let me put it like this. You have been vice chairman of the Delhi Dialogue Commission, which is nothing but the planning body of Delhi. Now let's look at it like this. Let's presume that you have been made the chief of the Karnataka Dialogue Commission or the Karnataka Planning Commission.
Yes.
You have been a Bengalurian. You have lived in Bengaluru. You have experienced the traffic jams here. You know how bad the markets are. You have experienced the power cuts. So where would you really start? I'm sure you know a little bit on the health sector also.
Yes. So my recipe for Bengaluru or Karnataka will not be very different from what I believe all states in India need to begin. And the vision has to be very clear first. The vision has to be that over years we need to become a developed nation, right? And for doing that, the first priority has to be investing into education, into health, and world-class basic infrastructure. Now, education and health, just think about it. You know, it's been 78 years since independence. Today, if you walk into a government school in Bengaluru, what can you expect to see? You will see stinking toilets. I have been like many years back in a Bengaluru government school.
Stinking toilets is the least. Classrooms leaking when it rains.
Broken windows.
Pigs inside the compound of the school compound in many cases.
So, you know, to call Bangalore as a Silicon Valley of India, and in that Silicon Valley, the government cannot fix a government school, a primary school, shows where we are, right? So, I think the starting point has to be that. The starting
So you
point
will
has
start
to be,
with the school.
I will start with education, period. You know,
Okay.
you have to, because people forget that more than half of our children are still studying in government schools. And if Bengaluru has to do justice to all its people, see, who makes a nation? A nation becomes prosperous only if its middle and lower class also become prosperous. We can't say that the top 10% are earning best salaries, competing globally, and therefore India is going to grow and develop. So that lopsided vision, and I do not know where this arrogance comes from to say that, okay, our states will become world class, our cities will become world class, but hey, we should not spend anything on education and health. Nationally, our budgets, the share of budget in education has been going down. Our share of budget in health has been going up. I'll give you one data point. India ranks 180 out of 190 countries in per capita health spending. Almost everybody in the world is spending more on health than we are. So I'll start with fixing government schools, and it can be done. And I'm not saying money is the only thing. It needs political will. I'll tell you, it also needs this kind of a breed of politicians who are not entangled in their own vested interests. Today, the reason why government schools are also not being focused upon is because it's the politicians who run the private schools. If you start improving private schools, then government schools, then who will come to private schools? Today, we say with pride that many of our MLAs, even children of judges and lawyers, are sending their children to government schools. Today, we say with pride, come to Delhi. We have more than 1,050 government schools. Walk into any of our government schools. Don't ask me which government school I should visit. Walk into any government school and you will see the kind of infrastructure as good or better than any private school. You see swimming pools, you see gym, you see libraries, all of these things. You speak to the teachers and principals and they'll tell you the story of transformation. Number two, as I said, is infrastructure. You know, a lot of our people still live in informal settlements, be it slum clusters, unauthorized colonies and stuff. So, you know, providing high quality road infrastructure, more than that, sanitation, hygiene. I mean, the kind of filth, the kind of indignity that so many of our people, millions of our people in our cities have to suffer from. I think we are far, far away from, you know, realizing the vision of a developed country or a developed city. if we continue to ignore on these things. And I think that would be my starting point even in a city like Bengaluru.
Okay. My last question to you, Bengaluru's elections, we don't know how soon they are. And whenever Bengaluru's elections take place, there is a huge chunk of voters who would want AAP to contest. So if you enter Bengaluru,
Yeah.
what difference will you make in the city?
First and foremost, Bengaluru, the BBMP is synonymous with corruption. I think the first thing that people think about when they think about BBMP is that we'll have to grease palms to get anything done. And it was nothing different even in the municipal corporation of Delhi. Today, Delhi, the AAP government governs MCD. 15 years before us, the BJP was in power in MCD, and the corruption and the MCD's definition had become abbreviation was most corrupt department. Similar is the case with BBMP.
Absolutely.
Number one, we would completely eliminate corruption.
Have you been able to do that in Delhi?
So to a large extent, I'll give you a very fabulous scheme. See, to change mindsets even of the bureaucracy does take time.
Because you need to change their, entire perspective.
It is, but I make a important point.
I've seen bureaucrats in certain places, as soon as they enter the office, they take an incense stick and offer prayers to the small safe that he has, where he keeps the money. So
I'm not joking. Just yesterday, a friend of mine in Bengaluru said that the situation BBMP is so bad that officers are asking for bribe over the table. Gone are the days under the table. They directly put like this hand and say, give us, and then we will pass your papers, clear your layout plans and all that. One thing that we have done in Delhi, which can be immediately replicated, we will introduce doorstep delivery of services. We are saying for any interface with government office, you don't have to queue up in front of a government babu. We will give you a toll-free number. You call on that number. Government representative will come with a tablet and will take all your papers, verify everything, stamp everything, take the papers away, and you'll get your documents by post. You eliminate, I think a lot of these administrative innovations can eliminate corruption, but it comes from political will. Today, more than 100 such services in Delhi can be done from doorstep. I'll give you another example. RTOs are the addas of corruption everywhere in the country. You know what Delhi has done?
RTOs, registration department, registration.
So stamps and registration we have eliminated through doorstep delivery. Now in RTOs you still need to go for a driving test. That cannot be done from sitting from your home.
Absolutely.
So I want to tell you the innovation that we have done. We are the only state that has 100% automated driving test tracks. If you want to give a driving license test, you register online, you get a slot, you get a location. You go there with your vehicle, there is no manual intervention. You have to drive your vehicle in a test track. There are sensors and cameras which will say whether you pass the test. You get an automated report card. No manual intervention. 100% of our tests are offered only through automated.
Right.
So, if it is political will, you will find today is the day of technology. You will find a way to ensure that babus don't determine whether you receive something or not. There is some kind of, an automated mechanism by which you can do that. So, plenty of ideas. I think Bangalore is such a fantastic city. It is one of the foremost vibrant cities. It is unfortunately where citizens suffer third-class governance, third-world governance even as on date. And I think that is nothing but the kind of politics that Bangalore has been seeing for so many years.
Thank you. So there it is, Mr. Jasmine Shah, someone who studied at some of India's best, the IITs, and someone who's served in Delhi in the think tank, in the Delhi Dialogue Commission as Vice Chairman, which is directly under the Chief Minister. The CM there is the chairman, saying that he would like to start with corruption and end corruption. And if we look at Karnataka, we've seen the parties, saying 40% corruption, 60% corruption, things like that. But can we work towards zero corruption? These are questions before us. Thank you for watching.